Welcome everybody to Insights in Action with Orange 142, where we interview agency and business leaders to pull any unique insights we can from them. And today I've got Curtis Hayes from Kaleidoscope. Curtis, how's it going?
It's going great. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. It's morning here, but we're getting started. Yeah, Curtis, I'd love to just kick it off and learn a little bit more about you and Kaleidoscope.
Sure. Yeah, I've got 20 years experience consulting. I worked for a couple different industries fresh out of college. Luckily landed with a Fortune company and learned a lot there, and then started consulting on the small business side and really cut my teeth in the boom of like the BlackBerry and the Palm Pilot and email servers. And I was doing systems integration and server setup for a lot of like small and medium businesses roughly starting 20 years ago. And then as that evolved, my customers started asking me about other technologies like Salesforce and HubSpot. And these were mostly sales type organizations. And the company that I was managing, we had started developing a marketing team and sort of saw that opportunity and eventually decided it was time for me to go out on my own and sort of consult on my own, which I did about 11 years ago, and really just kind of focused and honed in on the technology side of marketing. I felt like organizations or agencies weren't doing a good job with analytics and reporting and tying systems together as marketing became more and more complicated. And I also wanted to take a different approach to the agency model. I was managing around 20 employees at the previous company that I was at, and I didn't really want that overhead again and have to worry about payroll and benefits and hiring and firing and culture and all those kinds of things. And so we basically built what I guess is now called today, which I didn't know what it was called then, but this sort of Teamlance model where I'm working with a bunch of different freelancers, but they're solo entrepreneurs like me. They work from home, they have their own companies, but I bring the right people to a client that a client needs to fulfill whatever project or retainer they need from us, right? So I don't have the overhead that your typical agency would have. I don't have office space. We used to, and I just really just don't need it anymore. So we don't have office space. We don't have payroll and benefits and all that. I bring in the right people to do a job, and those people get paid for that job, and they're happy, and they get the freedoms of working from home and just being part of the project. They don't have to worry about selling that job and all the other things that come with running that business. And honestly, if they say they don't want that project, they can say no to it because they're too busy or they want to go on vacation or whatever. It's been fun. It's exciting, and just kind of been building that over the last 10 plus years.
Super interesting because we're so used to this retainer based work. And if I come from the sales side of agencies, I've sold for digital marketing agencies, and I know specifically what it's like to fight for that retainer. If it's
Mhm.
60,000 a year, if it's 100,000, whatever it is. And so you've taken this unique approach and you've kind of built what you wanted to do, and you built a life basically where it's like, hey, these are the things I like to do and these are the things I don't like to do, and I'm going to stay in my lane. And it seems to be working, right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the key word you said there is the word life. So I would say we're all lifestyle entrepreneurs, right? We're not trying, and then, again, this isn't right for everybody, but
Yeah.
the team that I have has worked for large agencies, has maybe some of them have tried their own agency and hiring people. And we all say, hey, we're really good at our craft, but we also have families, have hobbies, like a certain lifestyle, and we're not trying to be multimillionaires or anything. It's like we can make a good living and be happy. I think we're all happy. And I've got roughly about 12 individuals here in the US, and then I've got a team in India as well. And it's really worked out quite well, honestly. And so I think if you are passionate about your craft, certainly a lot of people are freelancing right now and they're doing that their own thing. But certainly you're limited, I think, sometimes in what you can provide a specific client because you have your own domain of knowledge. So all we're trying to do is say, hey, we have a network that we can pull from. If we don't know how to do something, I'm going to find you something. Like I know Salesforce enough to be dangerous, but if you need a Salesforce person to really like dive in and build out your workflows and automation and get complex rules and integrations, like I got a guy for you in Texas and he's going to knock it out of the park for you. He knows more than most people at Salesforce itself, right? So that's what we try to do is just take care of the client at the end of the day and we're all rewarded.
Yeah, that's awesome. This seems to be a mix of not only doing the things that look, like you said, kind of building the life that you want, but also putting the client's needs first and marrying both of those two things in that way. And then, so that's really cool. And I think Kaleidoscope's focus on creative solutions suggests like a commitment to innovation in every project. And I guess I'm curious, how do you ensure that creativity and strategy work hand in hand to deliver both impactful and practical results for clients?
Good question. Yeah, I mean, first you got to start with understanding what the client's goals are. What are they trying to get to, right? So if you're going to be creative, you can't start from a place of, well, we've done this for another client, maybe it'll work for you. I mean, that could be the case, but you really got to sit down and understand that client's business and where they're trying to go, understand what types of systems they're currently using, and understand how they operate internally. Like from a marketing perspective, you have to understand how sales operates within an organization if you're going to be effective. It's creative when it comes to sort of design, UI, UX, those types of things. I'm going to bring in the right people, and I've got a couple great designers to kind of ideate on those types of things. But then we want to back that up with data, right? So if we see a specific problem, or hopefully we realize there might be our problems, our improvements, I've got an analytics team. Let's try and gather the right data so we can figure out what's going on. And then we figure out creatively how to solve that problem, right? I'm working with a client right now, e-commerce, very high valued product, costs about $5,000. So our add to cart is actually really high, but we don't have a very good checkout rate, right? So it looks like a really bad conversion rate, but we have high interest in people heading to cart. And so the owner of the business and some other people that were involved in marketing thought we had a traffic problem. Like, it's volume. We've got to bring the right people. We've got to do more advertising. And in reality, at the end of the day, it's a communications problem. People are trying to justify that purchase. And so they're going to social media, they're going to YouTube. They want to find other people who had purchased that product, who have reviewed it and endorsed it. And that's helping make that purchase decision. Now we're getting creative around, hey, how do we solve that problem? How do we provide trust that people need to show the ROI they're going to get on that investment? And then now we can explore that together, both on the agency side and my team, as well as the client side, to come up with the best ideas and figure out what to implement and then test.
Yeah. How do you figure that out? Like, how do you come to that conclusion? I'm curious because what you're saying that you're saying that there's this high value product, and the first like conclusion that one comes to is, oh, we just need to find better people because
Better
better
people.
people will add to cart and they'll go through the whole purchase flow. But you have can you take me to that process?
Yeah.
You're
Yeah. As I mentioned, right, I come from a technology background. So we do a very in-depth tag manager implementation with all of our clients. And we talk through user journeys and what behaviors do we want to measure within a website. Things that you could do with, say, a Hotjar where you get heat mapping. All those are great tools, but there's a lot of that click-based actions that users take. When you think about it, you just simplify it. Every click a user takes on a website is a decision. They made a decision in their head to click that button, to add to cart, to go to this step, to leave, right? All that are decisions. So what we wanted to see is if we can collect data to understand the decision process for a user, now in understanding that behavior, we could draw some conclusions. So that's number one, to say, or I shouldn't say conclusions, I should say we could draw a hypothesis to say, well, we think the users are doing this, so we think that means this over here. I think you validate that through customer surveys, which we did in this specific case, right? So we have post-purchase checkout surveys that we've implemented. We're crawling through the social media posts and looking at comments on our ads in social media, and that's giving us insight. I think you take it a step further if a company is open to it, to really go and ask people who have purchased in like an actual phone call survey of what was your state of mind prior to learning about the product? What was your state of mind during the decision-making process? And then what ultimately took you over, right, to make that purchase, right? So in this specific case, we haven't gotten there yet, but we collected enough data to see that on the first journey to the website, people were going immediately to look at the proof. Like they wanted to see the pages on the website that supported the claims that this product was making. And then from there, we assumed, okay, they were getting the claims from the company itself, but like people have bought that product. Are they validating those claims, right? So then they were jumping to YouTube and we were seeing like people reviewing the product and all of these comments on the videos and like people saying, hey, I wasn't going to consider this product, but now that you shared this video, like now I am, right? And then the post-purchase survey finally then validated that, where we have a large number of people, which we basically, the question is, what led you to your purchase today? And there were two areas. One is a testing website that was third-party validation, and a lot of people were putting that, and then YouTube was the other one. So now we know, okay, it's this sort of validation trust content that's taking people over the edge. It's not an awareness issue. Everybody knows about the product. They've got to justify the large spend.
That's cool. Yeah, wow. I know we just got pretty technical there, but I really enjoyed hearing how you guys, and I think hopefully other people will enjoy hearing too, that data tells the story. Data tells the story, and you have to be able to, decipher that data. And I loved what you said there about people making a decision when they click, because I think you're right. Everybody installs Hotjar and these Lucky Orange and these types of things on their sites, and they overestimate what a scroll does and underestimate what a click does.
Yeah.
And I love that. Wow.
Yeah.
With a name like Kaleidoscope, your agency likely values diverse perspectives and fresh ideas. And I guess, like, how do you foster a collaborative environment that brings out the best in each one of your team members and client projects?
Yeah. So the great thing, I guess, about the model that we're using is, every employee is essentially, they're not employees. So they're self-employed, right? So they're their own entrepreneur. And so they tend to already be self-starters. They tend to be collaborative and outgoing and those types of things. So it's never a problem to put together my team on a call and get opinions. Like everybody's sort of willing and open, and I think trusts in themselves that what they're going to bring to the table, people are going to validate and sort of approve, and or at least hear, right? So that is important. I would say the other thing too is a lot of my people are senior, meaning they've also have 20 some years experience. I have one person who's worked with me, Katie, I think 18 years ago, I hired her at that other agency. We still work together today, right? So to see her grow over the years, as I have grown as well, right? And us continue to collaborate together, but we're like-minded, we're accountable to the client, to our own work, to each other. And I think that fosters, you have to have an environment that's safe for people to be open and be creative and share ideas. If people don't feel safe in that environment to share ideas, like they're going to get criticized or they're going to get put down because it's not a good idea, then you're really going to sort of struggle to get creativity out of people.
Yeah.
And I have to really lean on my team because, again, I have my domain expertise, and then, hey, I need you to dev this page, or I need you to wireframe this experience. And that's leaning in on them now. I don't have the answer for that. I could help you with data to make some decisions, but I'm going to lean into you and your best judgments of what that should look like for a client.
Yeah. And you guys have this natural, when I train sales and I train salespeople, one of the things I would always say is you're a doctor prescribing a solution. That's all you're doing. And so what questions he asks, and that seems inherent within what you guys do. It's just because you guys have different solutions and you guys have different specialists, it's really a matter of, hey, we'll be able to help you for the most part. We just need to figure out what it is you need, what it is you think you need, and what it is you actually need, and who we can get together to help you. And I think that mentality is there inherently, which is awesome.
That came from my IT background, because that's all IT was, break fix, right? A client called because something broke, something went down, and they needed it fixed. And what I learned in IT was you start simple first, right? There's a reason why they say reboot, because that's the simplest thing, right? So start simple and then work your way up from there. And I think that's what we've tried to do on the marketing side. Marketing has gotten incredibly complex, and there's the right way to approach it. But yeah, at the end of the day, we are just solving problems for clients. It doesn't need to be a big, like you said, $60,000 a year retainer. We can start at $500 a month if that's all you really need. And then if your business is growing and your needs grow, then we could look at what that looks like to have us work with you on a larger scale.
Awesome. I want to talk about the future a little bit on this. And you just said marketing is complex. And so in this rapidly changing digital landscape, what trends or shifts do you think agencies should be most aware of to stay ahead and continue delivering those effective forward thinking solutions to their clients?
Yeah, I mean, you can't ignore AI, obviously.
Mhm.
And I'm no expert when it comes to AI. I'm using it, but we're on the forefront of not just AI writing copy, but it designing websites and a whole host of things. It's creating images and those types of things. That's going to change. I think you still have the need for a lot of these disciplines for sure. And I think there'll be efficiencies in AI. I do think you need to use it. I think to ignore it is a big shortfall. So I do think there's some advantages. I think it's short-sighted to just let AI write copy for a page or do something like that. I think it still needs human input through that prompting basically is what it is. I mean, this is a new career that I think is going to be huge if it isn't already, which are these prompt engineers of basically training the AI to be better, right? And it's all about how you phrase the question to AI or essentially prompt it to get the results that you want to get.
And they're paying the a prompt engineer. I think it's true. It's going to grow, and then I think it's going to go down once because they're paying prompt engineers like $300,000 a year to start with right now, and it's not a hard skill to learn.
No,
You could do it in 20 hours worth of like focused effort, and so all that it's going to create this crash. But you're right. Right now, it's so necessary. And once people can decipher that, hey, AI is not here to replace what I do. It's here to enhance or make efficient what I do. Then I think we'll really start to see AI take off. But right now, people are still, you can tell, like you go on a page and you can tell that lots of times it's written by AI. And it's still, you're right. It still needs that human input.
yeah, I've really tried as hard as I could to get out of the hourly sort of billable model
Mhm.
because I might be really efficient at what I do. So why should I get penalized when it takes me less time to do it? Right. So I've always believed that. And so, of course, AI fuels that even more. If I can utilize AI to be more efficient with my job, that shouldn't penalize me, but it also then allows me to maybe take on more clients, to do more work within a given day that actually at the end of the day allows me to charge less to those clients because now I can take on more. Right. So at least in our model, if we're more efficient, it allows me to keep my costs down with my clients, or at least keep them stable,
Yeah.
right? And many of our clients, we haven't raised prices in 4 or 5 years because we are stable and efficient with those types of things, and then we're not losing them.
Yeah. Wow. That's awesome. Well, Curtis, this has been fantastic and enlightening. Where can people find out more about you? Where can people find out more about Kaleidoscope?
Yeah, Collideascope.co is our website. It's Kaleidoscope with a C, not a K.
I'll
And
have
that's kind
everything
of like
linked.
the collide is the word collide. Which is the team, right? So it's
Yeah.
all of these team members coming together. So that's kind of where the name comes from. You can find me on LinkedIn, Curtis Hayes. And then I also have a podcast with one of my team lancers, Tom Nixon, which is called Bullhorns and Bullseyes, where we talk about all things sort of marketing and sales. We say it's where promotion meets precision. And he's a PR guy. So I'm sort of the data analytics and he's kind of the PR communications guy. So kind of bring our two heads together and talk about marketing from both of our perspectives. And that's been fun to do. Yeah. So you can find us there as well on any podcasting channel or YouTube or anything.
Great. Yeah. I'll have everything linked in the show notes below. So you guys can easily find Curtis and his company. And well, Curtis, thank you so much for being here. This was awesome.
Yeah. I really appreciate the invite. Good to
Yeah.
talk to you.
Good to talk to you too.